So hi everyone, welcome to this month's Pep Talk. So this month I'm super excited to chat with Kat and Emma, who are the co-founders of House of Performance. So they're a consultancy dedicated to helping brands maximise their performance marketing ROI. So welcome Kat and Emma.
Hello, good to be here.
Yeah, thank you for that nice intro.
So we're going to jump straight in and uncover some of the kind of juicy details on how brands can use the power of performance marketing to kind of drive more ROI. Shall we dive straight into it?
Why not?
Sounds
Let's
great.
do it.
Let's do it. Perfect. So I guess first of all, it would be probably really helpful if you could give a little bit of background into House Performance, what you guys do, what exactly performance marketing is.
Yeah. Do you want me to?
I don't mind. That's you.
You do it. You're always better at talking about our business.
Oh, no pressure. So, like you said, Georgie, we're a performance consultancy who are focused on maximising brand return on investment. So, if I take some of the jargon out of what I've just said, because it's full of buzzwords, basically what we do is we go in and help brands and agencies understand how some of their key performance channels are performing. Can I say performance anymore? So what we mean by that is paid media channels. That's your paid search, so the ads that appear on Google when someone searches for something, paid socials, the ads that appear on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, etc., and also display marketing.
Cool.
And what we tend to do is understand the client's objective, e.g. that tends to be, I want to grow my business, or I have a challenge with some of the marketing I'm doing, and we help them understand what they're currently doing and how to get more out of it. Or we help them start from scratch because a lot of businesses want to get more out of their performance marketing. So we don't run always on activity, which a lot of traditional agencies do. Instead, we focus primarily on helping brands get more from what they're currently doing or setting them up from scratch for success.
Nice, yeah, makes sense.
That answer your question?
I love it.
I
Yeah,
went off on a bit of a tangent.
No, all good. And are there any kind of key sort of fundamental mistakes you see clients making when you kind of first start working with them when it comes to their performance marketing?
I think that there's always some common themes, isn't there? So there's often maybe disjointed communication between parts of the business within the client and or the agency if they're working with an agency. Sometimes there's a lack of objectives. So if the campaigns haven't got a really clear goal that everybody understands and is working towards, makes such a big difference. Sounds obvious, but we see it all the time actually. And then two more points really, in that often people will kind of discount granular marketing and working in a really specific way towards their goal, and they'll rely a lot more on automation more recently, which doesn't always work out for the best. So I think it's finding that balance with automation to hit the goal that you've outlined. So important and weirdly overlooked quite often.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And are they similar challenges to what you see from a life cycle marketing perspective?
Good question. Yes, and so I think the key challenges we see, or sort of mistakes people make, are doing that kind of blast all approach and treating all of their customers in the same way, regardless of kind of whether they've just come across a particular brand or they're a long-standing customer. For us, it's kind of going in and adding that level of personalization and making the comms much more relevant to where that person is in the customer journey. And also I think the second thing is forgetting to kind of add lots of value and be more of that kind of go-to type brand from a sort of lifestyle perspective. It's quite easy to go down the kind of buy messaging as opposed to kind of giving them more kind of value, whether it's videos, blog posts, other things that are sort of complementary to whatever service or product that they're selling. So it's, I guess, two things. It's that kind of making sure it's that personalized approach and also adding value in sort of pockets throughout that journey. It's a challenge because that's when the kind of the complexity comes in, and it kind of messes with your head a bit when you've got multiple different types of products and service, and you need multiple different types of message.
I think that's really interesting because we focus so much on direct response channels where it is all about that sale and that buy message. then that's why we could never do. We wouldn't be any good at lifecycle marketing, because although we totally appreciate that it's important to, or crucial really, to talk to customers, not just about buying off you. I wouldn't say our brains are wired that way.
Yeah.
We are always thinking about that sale. And that's why it's quite good to talk to people like you that are doing it, a completely different focus.
Yeah, for sure.
The client needs both, obviously. And customer needs both, definitely. But very different specialisms, isn't it?
But I think where we've seen success of clients is Welland years. One of the challenges we do see, and some of the clients that we're auditing at the moment have it, is where basically they're just doing the direct response over here, and then the life cycle marketing's over here, and they're completely disjointed. So I could be a customer trying to buy like this water bottle online. I mean, why would I buy online? But who knows? If I'm then getting a direct response message that's very, very product focused, and then I'm getting an email that's completely different, it's not a great customer experience. So I do think there's an opportunity for all of us to work closer together to maximise the customer experience.
Yeah, for sure. That kind of leads quite nicely onto the next thing in terms of, are there particular types of, or how would you advise brands identify the best channels? And should they start small and kind of work up? What's the sort of, how do you generally advise on that side of things?
I think the easiest way to answer it is to sit on the fence and say it depends.
Okay,
what we would say is, I think it's very easy to forget what you're trying to achieve when you're putting together a marketing plan. And actually, you should be focused on the customer, not the channel. So actually, who are you trying to speak to, and where are they going to be on the internet? And that should really drive your marketing investment decisions. Whereas I think a lot of brands tend to get stuck in, we should be doing paid social, we should be doing PPC, we should be doing email, and then not tying them together and not making everything work. Having said that, I do think like you need to understand what the business is trying to achieve as well. And there's naturally channels that sit much better with the performance, direct response side, and there's channels that tend to work better at driving awareness, and you need a mixture of both. The thing that we do tend to say is make sure that you've got your stakeholders on board, so make sure they understand what you're trying to achieve and then what those goals are when you're deciding your channels. So if realistically your FD is the person that's making all the decisions and they're literally going to look at the bottom line, then you need to take them on the journey to understand how you're speaking to the customer and what those key KPIs are going to look like.
Yeah, makes sense. I think it's kind of similar from our side as well, or kind of making sure email or lifecycle joins up to other channels, and that there needs to be that centralized point of consistency and having that kind of those themes throughout the month or whatever the goal is. Whereas I think often, brands are working with a number of different agencies and they're kind of the central point, and none of them are sort of speaking to each other. And I think that's where it gets a bit messy, doesn't it, in terms of people are not singing from the same hymn sheet or the phrases.
And then, sorry, go.
I was just going to say, absolutely. And I've worked with one client once who was very good at getting each agency together on a bi-weekly basis in one meeting where she would talk about the goals, what's going on, and then everyone would just do a quick 5 minutes. This is what's happening from my perspective. We'd all hear it. But it took a lot of organisation and commitment to do that. Most brands just don't do it, I think. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, it still shocks us both, I think, the amount of audits we do where a website and a marketing experience is so wildly different. And all there's a marketing side, right? And then without diverting, there's also how businesses are set up. And even those two things sometimes are like not working in parallel. And again, if like to your point earlier, if you center everything about the customer, then you should be on to success. If you're thinking about who is the person that's going to be visiting my website, reading my emails, seeing my paid search ad, going on Instagram, then you can't really go wrong. Whereas if you're just thinking about, this is my email, this is my website, completely separate, you're not putting the customer first, you're not being relevant, and you're less likely to see performance, whatever performance is for you and your business.
Yeah, interesting. I think it's so easily overlooked, isn't it, to kind of outsource all these different elements and then sort of think, right, that's done. But actually, you need that centralized meeting or whatever it is, document goals.
Nice. 100%.
And your best agencies, in my opinion, are going to be the ones that aren't threatened by that.
Yeah.
Like, everybody should want to work together. It shouldn't be like oh, I'm paid social, I'm PPC, I'm email, so we don't want to work together. Actually, if you really see the longevity of a relationship with a client, then you should be open and willing to collaborate and work together, because it's going to achieve more for you and your business as well as the client.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. And then to wrap up, do you have, or what would be your sort of top 3 tips for clients, brands looking to kind of level up their performance marketing? Do you have sort of 3 quick fire things that you'd recommend?
The first one that springs to mind is ask more of whoever's running the activity. You know, have healthy debates and questions and probe into stuff. The amount of times we look at an account, the relationship hasn't necessarily been challenged, not in a difficult way, just in a, well, have we tried this? What about this? If you don't know what to ask, find out, you know, research what to ask, or obviously ask us, because so many accounts are just sort of left. And if the agency or the team running it aren't sort of challenged and infused by the seniors, they won't necessarily do the best job. So I think I've only got one, actually. That is the one.
I guess a second one, without being repetitive, is just bring it back to the customer. So think about what you're trying to achieve and who you're talking to. And if you do those things, I love that your dog just saying, if you do those things, then you can't go wrong. But again, I think from a lot of audits we do, there was an objective and a goal and a customer at the beginning, and at the end, that's very, very different. And then I guess the third one is probably utilize machine learning, utilize automation, embrace technology, but don't lose sight that you need humans to drive that technology and to get the most out of it. Like everything in life, it's all about balance. So a lot of clients are scared of automation. We strongly recommend it because robots and computers and AI can take so many more factors into consideration than we ever could. But if you don't have somebody driving that, you're not necessarily going to tie it back to your objectives and achieve everything.
Nice. Cool, thank you. That's great. Well, thanks both very much. We will wrap up there. I'm sure that's been super helpful for everyone. And where can people find you if they want to find out a little bit more?
Just our website, houseperformance.co.uk, or look us up on LinkedIn.
Great. Okay, we'll tag you as well. Amazing. Thanks both.